important for them to, or it's relevant to work with synagogues to, is that a platform that artists can work in? Are the restrictions too much? Is it a good idea? Is it a bad idea? Would you encourage artists who are working and inspired by their heritage to go in that direction?
You'd be amazed how few prescriptions there actually are. Reb Moshe was very clear about it, and one of the Rabbanim who was at the Bet Din told me something astounding. He said, under 6 feet from the floor, you have to be very careful about what you do. Over 6 feet from the floor, you can paint almost anything. You can do the Sistine Chapel. You can do almost anything, because under 6 feet, you have to bow down to look at it. Over 6 feet, you don't.
As long as it's not in the sanctuary. I'm saying
No, in the sanctuary. You can paint
I'm
in a
not talking
shul.
about religious restrictions. I'm talking about, like, do you think that it's an avenue for artists to actually express themselves, to be real?
Well, it really depends on the flexibility of the specific rabbinate. Like I said,
So it's a
the ra-
case by case thing.
yeah, the rabbis have a legitimate reason not to want it. They have the oral Torah, and that's the story.
I want to say that I see contemporary rabbis being much more open. I actually think it's trending right now for every
That's
Chabad house to
great.
have an art show. So I want to
Art
ask
show
you,
is different.
it's true. A lot of it's kitsch.
No, no, no.
Yeah.
Art show is different because it's transferable. My point about anti-Semitism was that once you have art on the wall, once you have a mural, once you've tattooed the building with Judaism, that it can't be moved, that's very different than the transferability of a physical painting.
Bringing in people for a schmooze and some art is different than.
Yeah, for instance, if you have, okay, here we go. You got enough time on your tape there? Because I'm going to say something. You bring up an interesting point. I have to answer you.
Yeah.
All of the other art forms are movable. They're time-based. So people talk about Jewish musicians, Jewish filmmakers, Jewish writers, Jewish dance, Jewish theater. That has nothing to do with Jewish painting. Nothing. Nothing, nothing. Because let's say you're a boss. Let's say your boss is an anti-Semite. At 3 o'clock in the morning, he breaks down in front of your house in the middle of a rainstorm. You're sitting, listening to Yitzhak Perlman playing Nigunim, and you have a Philip Roth book opened. Your siddur is on the table. You have the Golem on TV, and you have a big Chagall rabbi on your wall. He knocks on the door. He needs to use the phone. You close the book. You turn off the TV. You do it. The one thing you can't do is take your Chagall off the wall. He walks in and says, "You're Jewish?" The Jewish paintings have the power of declaring the affiliation with the Jewish nationhood in the space that they're put. Having a show is transferable, but if something is permanently installed, either as a painting on a wall or as a mural, that's something else. And that's where the question of whether or not the rabbis will allow that kind of identification. That is, what you have now is, you have stained glass windows with, like, a sheaf of wheat for like Shavuot or something like that. And you figure, okay, that's nice. What if somebody actually delved into the meat and potatoes of Jewish existence? Aside from, like, when I did Bnei Yosef, I figured I have a menorah, I have a Magen David. Now I have 38 panels I have to invent an iconography for. If Jewish artists start to do that, we're going to have a very interesting period of art, something that's never existed before.